Hey everybody, I'm going to show you guys how to use the Hoover SmartVac carpet cleaner. This is an older model, but I believe the design on them is still very similar, even on the newer models. First thing we're going to do is we're going to plug this thing into the wall. Second thing, I want to show you guys how to operate it. Right side, you've got the handle release. Left side, you've got the power button. First thing that we want to do is we want to release the solution tank here, and I did that. I'm not sure if you saw that. I did that just by pressing down pretty gently on the handle here, just pushing down, and it even says there, push down. Pops out. It's ready to go. Down here, you're going to see the this is kind of the wastewater tanks. This is where all your dirty water goes. You can see we've got some pet hair in there. It's not going to look too great after we're done here. Over here, you've got kind of a brush indicator. This little guy here is going to spin furiously when we're actually operating it. And then we've got kind of a toggle switch here, whether we want it to be low speed, off, or high speed. I prefer to use high speed. I feel like that gets the most out of the machine. Okay, so next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go put some solution in the tank and get it fired up and going. Okay, so here we are at the sink. I've got the solution tank. I've got some carpet machine concentrate. I got this at Home Depot, and it has done pretty well on the spots that I've done so far. No damage to the carpet. Looks pretty clean, so definitely going to recommend that. That's not sponsored or anything, just what I was able to pick up off the shelf. At the top here, you're going to see that this is labeled to turn it counterclockwise for opening and turn it clockwise for closing. It's also a built-in measuring cup. And first things first, don't put the solution in before you add the water. I'm going to go ahead and add the water because I don't want it to get all sudsy. That can cause problems with the machine. There's a couple of lines that you're going to see here if you look very closely. I'm not sure if the camera is going to pick that up or not, but there's a molded line that's right here, and then there's a secondary line that's up here. I think the secondary line is actually part of the molding process, so I'm going to ignore that. But you can see the line, if you look really closely, right here it says fill line. So we essentially don't want to get higher than that line, or else we might run into some issues. Crank the faucet all the way to the hot setting. I'm going to go ahead and just fill this right up. What you're going to see is I'm going to get it pretty much to the line here. That's a little difficult to pick up, but when I get it to the line, that's when I'm going to shut it off. I'm going to actually add some of the solution over here to the tank and then kind of slosh it around a little bit just to mix it up. But again, we're trying to avoid getting too much sudsing. And you can see what residual was in there is actually already starting to suds. Pop the lid off of this. I usually just go ahead and fill it up to the top. Figure it's not going to hurt anything as long as the machine still functions. And we're there. I'm going to go ahead and dump this in. Okay, and like I said before, we're going to turn the cap clockwise to lock it into place. Okay, so there's that. I'm just going to kind of slosh it around a little bit as I take it back upstairs. Okay, so we're back at the machine here. One thing I want to note is there are a couple of vent holes in this thing, so if you slosh it around too much and make too much suds, it is going to come out the top. That's part of why I said to add the solution second. Part of it was because the machine really just doesn't like too much sudsing. So we're going to latch this guy in place. It's just a push. And we're ready to go. One thing I do want to note is we want to make sure that we vacuum before we do this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it on. First thing you want to do is release the handle. So we're releasing the handle. There's a trigger here. And as I'm going forward, I'm going to go forward pretty slowly, but I'm going to squeeze the trigger. And so without the machine on, I'm just going to show you here. I'm going to kind of do one of these things where I'm just going forward And then when I get to the end of where I'm at, I'm going to release it. If you get to like a heavy traffic area, that's what this button's for. So you're going to kind of have your 2 fingers here, and then you just push down on this one, and that's going to add additional solution to the carpet. I want you to be cautious though, because as you're doing this, you don't want to soak the carpet to the point that you're ruining the pad underneath it. We really just want to get the fibers that are on top. If you look at this area here, this has got too much on it. So as I was sitting there filming this, I held the trigger down, and I laid down way too much. That's going to soak into the pad, but we're going to do our best to pull that out. And the way that we're going to do that is we're going to allow the machine to just sit on that area. Okay, here we go. Releasing the handle. You're going to be able to tell when you get every bit of water out, because it's going to stop sucking up water visibly here. You can see that the part where I laid down too much earlier in the video, that's still having water pulled out of it, so I'm going to keep covering it until it stops. And then I'm going to do just one pass just to make sure that we get the majority of everything that we laid down. And I'll pull it back. This one's going to be a little bit quicker of a pass. So I'm going to go ahead and do one more pass. I'm going to show you the full effect. I am going to pull the trigger. This is not a high traffic area, so I'm not going to go with the extra solution. And I'm going to show you the speed at which I operate the machine. So I'm going about a foot a second, something around that. And I'm going to release the trigger. We're going to pull it back. And then, like I said, I'll just do a cleanup pass just to make sure I got everything. You can see some is still coming in there in the front. So I'll continue doing this area. One thing I don't like to do is I don't like to back myself into a corner. So I actually started back here in the bedroom all the way in the other corner. And then I came all the way back out to the point essentially where the machine is plugged in. So that's a little tip there for you. Okay, one last thing before I wrap up on this. I want to show you guys how to clean up. This one can get a little tricky, so wanted to make sure I went through this and didn't forget about it. A common mistake that I've made is I'll just release the handle to try to go after the dirty water tank, and I'll forget that this thing, while watertight, does still kind of leak a little bit. So first thing you want to do is pop the handle down to get it out. Set it aside. I don't think I'd set it on anything too awfully great, so don't set it on your wife's favorite furniture or anything like that. And then we're going to pop the handle all the way down, and it's going to lay all the way flat. You don't have to worry about it. Everything's completely fine there. If you look really closely down here, there's a couple of tabs. There's one on this side, and then there's one over here on this side as well. We're going to pop those out, and this thing is just going to want to lift right out. So there it is, lifted right out. When you go to put it back in, you're going to notice there's a hole right here and a hole right here, and those are going to line up to the column right there and the column right there. And as you can see, the water is quite dirty coming out of this. I'll let you pick your preferred method of disposal of the water. I typically like to put it down the toilet. I don't want it really touching my kitchen or anything like that, so I'll usually put it down the toilet and flush it. So when you do go to put it back in, like I was saying, it'll just kind of drop right in, and then these latches will latch one more time, and then you can just stand the handle right back up. And that's how you clean up. I do want to show you how to get the lid off. It can be a little bit confusing. There is a tab here on the back, and you just kind of pull out on that tab, lift it up. Make sure you flip the lid over so that it doesn't leak or anything like that. And then this is what's inside of there. Then the lid goes on the opposite. You'll want to attach these two tabs here in the front and then go down with it, give it a nice push. It's ready to rock again. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please make sure to like and subscribe, and hopefully we've been helpful for you. So take care. Thanks.